Warm welcome and good afternoon. I'm going to start this session with the language announcements. So first inviting Henna for the Finnish.
Hei, eli kääntämiseen liittyen, niin sieltä valitaan se maapallon kuva ja sieltä kieli Finnish, eli nyt on tullut suomen kieli. Ja sitten jos on se iOS tai Android, niin sitten sieltä valitsee se 3 pistettä ja sieltä se kielivalikoima Finnish. Kiitos, thank you.
Kiitos. Thank you, Henna. And Eva for Spanish.
Es el anuncio para recibir la traducción. Entonces, si nos unimos desde el móvil, hacemos clic en los 3 puntitos y seleccionamos el idioma. Y si es desde el ordenador, pues en la bola del mundo. Okay, thank you, Sara.
Thank you. And for Hindi, Bhavana.
ओके भाषा अनुवाद को सुनने के लिए विंडोज और मैकिन्टोश के लिए आपके मीटिंग वेबिनार कंट्रोल में इंटरप्रिटेशन पर लिंक करें पृथ्वी के चित्र के ऊपर। हिंदी भाषा के लिए कृपया हिंदी पे क्लिक करें। सिर्फ हिंदी को सुनने के लिए म्यूट ओरिजिनल ऑडियो पे क्लिक करें। एंड्रॉयड और आईओएस के लिए आपके मीटिंग कंट्रोल में मोर पे क्लिक करें। लैंग्वेज इंटरप्रिटेशन पे क्लिक करें। हिंदी भाषा के लिए कृपया हिंदी पे क्लिक करें। म्यूट ओरिजिनल ऑडियो के लिए टॉगल पे क्लिक करें। डन पे जरूर क्लिक करें। थैंक यू।
Thank you. And Stephen for former Yugoslavian language.
Om Shanti, good morning. Good afternoon. Znači danas imamo opciju da umjesto koreanskog odaberete former Yugoslav ili već ne znam kako će vam trebalo da pišete former y. Znači sa kompjuterima imate ovaj znak globusa, tu odaberete naš jezik i mutirate originalni zvuk koliko želite samo da čujete prevod, a sa mobilnih telefona na 3 tačkice ili more kliknete language interpretation, odaberete former Jugoslavija i onda mutirate originalni zvuk ako želite samo da slušate mene i to potvrdite. Ok.
Thank you. So we've just started and I'm hoping it will work well. Translators will just need to unmute also. If we could confirm in the chat that it's working.
I couldn't. It didn't work for me.
Okay. We are appreciating technology, but it's not always working. And is it working for Finnish? Yes, I think, but not for Stephen. Okay, and Hindi is working. And Eva, it's not working for you. Okay.
¿Se escucha? Que ha dicho que no funciona.
We can hear Eva. So try again. For Spanish and Stephen. We can try one more time for Spanish.
¿Se escucha el español? Que dice Sara que no.
Yeah, we can hear you also, Eva, at the moment. Which is very nice.
Okay.
But, and Stephen,
I didn't get that option for OK to welcome into translators like every day. I didn't.
You're not finding. Very okay. Interesting. We can put you as Korean and try this. See if it's working.
Yeah, but just make me interpreter because I can't find it.
Yeah, the moment we are trying that, and Eva also.
Eva is not interpreter at the moment also.
Okay. It's amazing it's worked as well as it has so far. We will try Eva again. From English. Let's first try Eva. No, not working. Okay. It's not totally clear what the idea is. We can try one more thing. Okay. No, not getting the option. Is that right? Okay.
Me, not me.
Okay. We will have to end all, and we will try them all again. Prashant wants to share a little meditation so we can all at least enjoy vibrations. Is Prashant there?
Yes, I'm here.
Tarkistan, että kuuluu ääni.
And you can hear me?
Ja
Yeah.
tässä vielä katsotaan näitä muiden kielien.
प्रशांत भाई आ गए हैं.
If all translators just stay silent just for one moment while we're organizing, and we'll just listen to Prashant. We'll start with the meditation.
And the best meditation is coming into silence. And let us come to that world beyond the drama. World of complete silence, because in this dimension there is no story. World of stillness, world of light. We may know many things going on, commotion in the faraway world, so many things. But at the same time, we are in the silence of the sky. Knowing that this is the main world. This is not just a meditation. This is the home, and true family is here. True self is in this dimension. Thank you.
Shanti. Thank you, Prashant. We are back with all translators working. Thank you. We are honoring Zoom and their efforts, but they haven't quite got the customizing translation right yet. So we'll send them best wishes for this. I just wanted to share one quote. If you can't explain something to a 6-year-old, it means you haven't understood it yourself. And this was Einstein. So for me, there's special knowledge is, as was mentioned yesterday, knowing is one thing, understanding and becoming the knowledge itself is another. And it feels like that's when it becomes simple, when we've really understood and it's become part of us. and it's in a sense easy to explain. I'm not trying to rationalize or intellectualize. Another quote, if you live each day as if it was your last, someday you'll most certainly be right. It's a slight change of the quote by Steve Jobs. He said that, but he also said he lived each day as if it was his last. And it felt connected to yesterday's emphasis on the exit and a means to live in that way of clarity, that each moment, each day is, in a sense, a bit of an extra, and it helps to clear the clutter. So I'm going to hand over again to Prashant, and hope all translation is working. It appears to be working from here, and looking forward to the session today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, as always, we come back to the essence, and something we touched yesterday, the essence for every human being on the planet. They want to survive. That is all. The animal creatures, everyone want to survive. But the absurdity is they are trying to survive in the temporary world. Unpredictable and temporary world. That is the confusion of Ravan. So we put that right first. Repeatedly through the day, we have to come back to this. Come to that dimension where the invisible soul is seeing his eternity, his immortality. So just for a minute, we are coming to that with the eyes open. Try with the eyes open. Because mind is such a thing, mind can go to that another reality. And seeing the soul as a presence, as if one is seeing oneself. Mind has this ability. And it is aware, the soul is aware that there is a story at a distance, aware of the great family of souls. They are all noble souls. They are aware of their greatness, aware of the company of the Father, supreme friend, highest and the wisest. Aware of this also. But right now, the focus is on the invisible presence in that expanse of light. Aware that this dimension is timeless. Beyond harm. And he doesn't need to know anything else. Thank you. We are emphasizing this and it's soul consciousness, but within soul consciousness, story of immortality. to know the immortality of the soul, to know your absolute security. We are emphasizing it because all problems of this world, international problems and local problems and personal problems, are because of insecurity, because they might die. So they have to be greedy or they have to make bombs. Whole complication is because of that. And you discover your immortality. You can then afford to be noble. You can afford to be free from this waste that exists in human beings, unnecessary. Superficially, we cannot create a noble character. Its foundation is story of immortality. Not enough just knowing of this, we all know it, but it has to be drummed in. God is God because he knows of his immortality. That's why he can be carefree and loving and being of bliss. Same thing applies to each one of us. Then once we have got into this panic and got into attachments, problem is now more complex. Our insecurities just increase. It is then exponential until it is iron age. We are going to see some slides. We'll start in 5 minutes or so, few minutes. But during this time, let us come back to that space. Our big program for the rest of the weekend, today, tomorrow, to understand that we ourselves are invisible. We use the word alokik, unearthly. Everything of ours is alokik. And it is eternal. Everything of ours. So whilst life is going on, that is happening in the visible and earthly dimension, our attention is on the alokik. Not just as a attention in a superficial way. We know that everything of ours is alokik. Everything that is lokik is from the story. Whatever that is visible is from the story. So even as we watch the slides, we'll have this awareness that there is the lot going on in the gross. But for the conscious, for the soul that is conscious, his world is alokik. He himself is alokik. And by alokik, we are meaning unearthly, but also invisible, different from different reality. Then it is fun. When you are staying in that space, then it is fun. You are seeing the grand story involved in it, but you are not from here. It is the reality for the awake soul. The story, it is really a story for the awake soul. For the ego, it is just word. Everything becomes just language, nice words, but the experience is not there. But the soul wakes up, that dimension becomes his life. Yes, so we will see this this presentation, and this is some British humor. What we are doing essentially, we are trying to understand brain, not for the sake of knowing brain, but brain is the nearest instrument of the soul. So it gives us an insight into the soul. And over the last 100 years, lots of wonderful work, efforts done to understand brain. We know a lot about brain, but very interesting, one language that gets used in the discussion on brain, one word, and that word is mystery. After all this, we are literally spending billions every year to understand brain. And then they say mystery. Mystery because the effort is trying to explain it without soul. And we mentioned last time one neurophysiologist who got Nobel Prize for medicine. His name is John Eccles. Eccles. And you can read about him in the internet also. And his understanding about brain, he says soul using the brain. That solves all the riddles. This mystery that exists, it can be solved when we use the word soul. But there is a bigger department who want to see if we can explain everything without trying to know the soul. So there is Patthar medicine, and there is Paras. Patthar medicine will try to see if we can explain it across. But we can't. After all these hundreds of years, we can't. But one thing, the basic thing we all know, brain has got these two sides, right hemisphere, left hemisphere. And broadly, we know that there are certain functions that happen on the left side, and there are certain functions that happen on the right side. In people in all cultures, everywhere, you will see this very clear difference. For example, you see in that left side, that part of that brain in the front area dealing with language. And if there is some damage to the brain there, if the circulation it will blocked, or if there is an accident, the person will lose the language. Or another part of the brain, we cannot deal with numbers and mathematics. So it is largely the left side that deals with the functions that you see there. Whether it is analysis and logic and language, science, reason, these functions happen on the left brain. Right side deals with different kinds of functions. And again, if there is a damage, you can see the difference. So intuition, holistic thought, holistic, you are seeing the bigger map, bigger picture. Intuition, creativity, art, music, more when we are saying music here, more the melody. Rhythm goes on the other side. There is that difference. Synthesis. Faces is recognizing. You meet someone, you recognize him. You know, it happens. He's your John. You meet him after 10 years. You recognize. So that is that part of the brain. If that part of the brain is not functioning well, you might not recognize even someone you don't recognize the face. You may know the name. He's my brother, but no, is it you? That kind of thing. Synthesis is opposite of analysis. Like you go into the details and details. That is analysis. You try and see the common factor within it. That is synthesis. Like for example, you see in your garden a camel and an elephant and a tiger and a cat. You say, okay, there are 4 animals there. That is synthesis. So, the question for all of you. You can type your question answer. What do you think is a common factor for the functions on left side? And what is the common for functions on the right side? What makes a difference? Left side is, do you see some common pattern in the left brain functions and the right brain function? I will just use this word, left brain, right brain. Strictly speaking, it is the left hemisphere and right hemisphere.
Tara's typed understanding, and there's some Spanish answers here. One is, I think, left is the intellect, right is reason, creativity on the right side, reasoning on the left, mental versus spiritual,
Sure.
intuition, and on one side.
Sure. Now, in the computer language, the left side functions can be called serial processing. Which means you go one step followed by the next step by the next step. That happens in logic, that happens in science, that happens in mathematics. You are going sequence. Whereas the right side functions can be called parallel processing. You meet someone after 10 years, you recognize him in a second. You get at some great idea, it happens in a second. So this is called parallel processing. Another way to describe left side functions, you are going into the details and details of details. Analysis is one example of this. Science is another. You go into details. You want to know what is in this stone. You want to know the atom. What is inside the atom. You go into details and details. That is left brain. Right? You come to the essence. What we are saying here, nature has made us with this brain, and it is having equal importance. It is not that one side is bigger than the other. They are equally important. And we are made to go through life with these two wings. And when we use 2 wings, we can fly. Just like shown here, bird with 2 wings, it can fly. But if there is a bird with only 1 wing, he can flap around, but he cannot fly. So we are seeing this limitation. that so this is important for us because we all here want to achieve excellence. That's why we are here. And to achieve excellence, we will have to develop ourselves on both sides. If there is a culture, education system, where you ignore one side, then it will be like a bird with one wing, and you cannot fly. So if you see here some big names in science, this is Newton. And we had one friend here. Newton was master in Trinity College in Cambridge. And one friend, she was doing her studies on Newton. Her subject was Newton. And she was reading his handwritten notes. They are in the library here. And when she was studying his handwritten notes, she saw that there was lots of spirituality in him. Newton is one such person who talks a lot about God, and openly at that time. Of course, it was a different, but there was the foundation of spirituality in him. And here I'm mentioning these names because lots of present day scientists might say, I am a scientist, so I don't try to understand religion or God. It is not, I'm a scientist. Whereas these are the big names in science. Like here is Einstein, who is considered to be father of modern science. And Einstein is the one who makes a statement like this: science without religion is lame. He also says religion without science is blind. Very relevant, because science, we can say, is a left brain activity, religion is a right brain activity, because it needs holistic thinking, to grasp of intuitive faculty that is required for religion. Whereas science is analysis, you go into the details. And so here is the father of modern science. He says, if it is just one side, it is lame. You're handicapped or you're blind. We will see in further on how these statements are not totally random. There is a depth there, very much. So a big question for all of us. Do you think we are balanced anytime in our lives? Or when in our lives, in a natural way, we are balanced? Some people say when we are asleep, or no, during the waking life, which activity are we balanced? Here I'm not talking about word meditation or something that is, maybe understood, but we will see natural life, ordinary person. When is he balanced? You can type your answers if you want.
Pedro's typed when we're in silence.
Yes.
Some others have typed when we're playing. I think they've seen it before though. In childhood, and one at the confluence age, when we are cycling, when heart and mind are together, when things are going well, when things are sorted.
Nice. So here we are showing when we play, that is the time we are naturally balanced. Natural inclination of children is everything is play for them. They see you as a potential player. Now, what happens when you are playing, and what happens at the level of the brain? Say right now, we were to say, we are not going to have a meditation or discussion or talk. We are going to make few teams and we are going to play, and maybe we'll invent some games for us to play. So the moment you hear this, we are going to play a game, your right side brain, it says, oh yes, for next hour is going to be fun. It really doesn't matter whether it is beyond your life. Your life is going on. This is just 1 hour, which is, it is going to, you can relax. It is not serious. And some people are playing against you, but it's just 1 hour. It is not going to affect my life. You love them. There is acceptance. There is lightness. This is the sort of feelings and attitudes will come from the right brain. As we said, we are talking about right brain, but it is all happening at the soul. Brain is the level we can see these functions, but we are saying things are happening behind. But having done this right side position, so you are literally saying it is not serious. Whether you win or lose really doesn't matter. It is fun, regardless, because it's just a game. Now the left side kicks in. You are playing, and you are playing to win, and you want to score as many goals as possible, and you are going into the details. You want to use your skills, and you say it is serious. Any game you are playing, even if you are playing with children, you will notice you are becoming serious at it. It doesn't mean the right side is not working. At the same time, you are saying it is not serious. See, in the list of the right side, there is the word not serious. So you are the one who said it is not serious, and at the same time, the same person says it is serious. And this is the beautiful thing that happens in human beings. The paradox. Part of you is taking one position, another part takes another position. And that paradox creates the play. If that was not there, then we call it work. So here you are working hard and you are going into rules, you are going to details whilst holding that space. You are holding that, you are understanding this is a game. You are not going to lose that awareness. And then you are happy to play. If you are not able to hold that space, then you are not clever. Then you are gone into the pot. And then that is what has happened. We said, you're drawn into the honey pot. And then you neither enjoy the honey nor you can fly. So here, when you are understanding these two brains, the left side and the right side, you realize we are made to play. Our brain is made to play. And it is not just the children. We are made to play in this life. Everything falls in place now. Now I'll give you some examples how this understanding helps us in our
Might need to read that out. It's not totally clear.
Yeah, it's just saying that a strong right brain enables left brain functions to be used effectively. So if one wing is strong, then you can use the other wing. if there is just one strong wing and another wing is not even there, right brain is not even there, then you cannot use your other wing also. So this is that play is this. You need to have the strong right brain even to use the functions that you got in the left brain. Here is a nice example. This was in the finals. You are seeing the central court at Wimbledon. And this is many years ago, but there must be many cases of this kind. So here is a player who reaches the finals of Wimbledon, and his every serve was hitting the net. And what happened? Here is a person who reaches the finals and he couldn't serve. Another side player could have won very easily without, he doesn't need to be number one seed player. So all along, he knew that it is a game, it is fun. So the right brain was relaxed, so that wing was working well, right wing was strong, and then he could use the skills he got in the left side. So he could then fly, he can perform well, he achieved excellence. Then he reaches finals, and suddenly he says, "No, this is finals, this is not fun." So the moment he told himself, this is serious, the right side got paralyzed. There is no right wing now. And he got a left wing, but he couldn't use the left wing. Now, this is what many of us might have observed in ourselves. When you are in some situation like this, if you let the right wing paralysis, then you cannot use the left wing. All kinds of situations. We have one friend visiting us here. He's based in Chicago, and he's a mathematician connected with the university there. And he got one job. He works for one session, just one day in a week for a company. And what this company is doing, some scientists, they all come in a certain place. They spend 3 hours together. They know roughly what the company is planning, what are the products and what ideas they want. They know that rough plan. But during these 3 hours, do you know what they do? He gets paid by the company. Do you know what he does during those 3 hours? They all play. There are some strings and sticks and some stones. They are playing with different things, different games. And in that environment of lightness and play and fun, they are talking amongst themselves, their ideas and whatever, but in that environment. And at the end of it, whatever they new ideas they got, they give it to their supervisor, and they get paid. It is very different thinking as opposed to you are told, we want this research, we need this idea, here by the deadline, otherwise here is a gun. And that is one way of doing things. Here is a different way. There is a famous name in the management world, Jack Walsh. He was a senior person in General Electrics and showed a sustained growth in the company. And what he did, at some point he realized what is required there. he introduced sport in their company, and all kinds of sports, including football and this tennis, different grounds, sports fields within the company grounds, and made people play so that that spirit continues into their life. Now, play, I'm not emphasizing just the play side of it, but what we are really seeing is how we can use that understanding in a larger life. Here we are seeing another example. What you are seeing is a pavement. It is about 100 meters long, 2 meters broad, and you have to walk on that pavement. You can't walk on the grass. That is a very strict precondition. And maybe you can walk on it, you can run on it, you can ride a bicycle. So you got skills. Strict condition, you can't go on the green. You have to stay on the pavement. Now that here is the same pavement that you see at the top there, connecting two mountains. It's the same pavement. It is 2 meters broad, no side railings, and you have to go from one side to the other side. 50 meters. Will you ride your bicycle? Will you run? And you won't even try, walking even. You will crawl. Or you may not even try to crawl even. And the reason is your right brain says it is not fun. That's all. Whether it is at a height of 100 meters or a height of 1 meter, if you are told it is very serious, you can't do mistake, then your right brain is paralyzed. And when right brain is paralyzed, you can't use the left brain either. If there is no right wing, you cannot use the left wing. You got skills, but you cannot use that. So you find yourselves in a situation where you are handicapped. You remember what Einstein said? Science without religion is lame. And as we said, it was not just a random statement. There is depth there. If there is left brain, all the cleverness is there. But if it is not balanced by the right brain, some deep philosophy, then you cannot use the left brain. So some cultures that are just working on this, run, learn more, cram more physics, more mathematics. Those cultures, they can't achieve very far. They won't achieve excellence. You will see excellence in cultures where there is a balance. Feel free to say anything, ask anything. We are speaking all this to draw a point that our excellence, our potential is a lot higher. At present, we are handicapped. At all levels, we are handicapped. Intellectually, because we can't even see the bigger map. We are so caught in the story. It is like a madness of Ravan. And that is the whole problem. Emotionally, we don't know the scale of the emotions, supersensuous experiences that are possible. we think some drama-based Ravan's emotions. This is all we know. We don't know the experience of the angel. The whole level we are at present in a handicapped. That is all. How do you describe the present age and present human beings? They're handicapped. This is not normal. Soul is not even conscious. So in a big way, it is a handicap. But alive, not conscious, but alive. That's why that's why we need this Sanjivani to bring him back to life. Sarah, want to say something?
I think this handicap, it really resonates, and that we have a great lot of potential. Yeah, some comments, very informative and helpful. A little earlier, a comment, after going through the details, we then get the essence of spirituality. One question, is it true that a left-handed person has a stronger right brain?
Not true. And here we are meaning a different level. But that is not true.
Okay. And is our emotions experienced and felt in the right brain?
As we are emphasizing, everything is happening at the level of the soul, but processing largely happens. Right brain is dominating, yes. But I should emphasize, many functions happen if we are talking about emotions and all, it is happening at many other levels in the central part of the brain. But the right side brain damage does affect the emotions more.
Do you know if there's a culture that exists right now that has more balance?
No, we can say the real balance will be in the golden age. The new souls that come, they will have relatively more balance.
Is it that the messages from the right brain affect the left brain functions?
There is always a connection, and it is one brain and one human being.
And if you might have mentioned it earlier with the emotions, but a question, where is fear being processed?
Yeah, and as we are saying, we are using this image and the language just to underline the paradox that exists. That's why we are using this language, but not to understand that all the experience of emotions and intellect and decision making, everything happens in the soul. It is a bit like the one person, he takes decisions, he feels, he may use a computer, he may use something to express his things, but one who is experiencing is the driver behind all this. Pilot. There is a pilot sitting there, invisible pilot.
If the left brain is damaged, how can one develop it?
Yes, there are lots of, in the medical world, is different kinds of damage and different things are done. As I'm saying, aim is not to work at that level. That is not the aim today.
Yeah, because there was a question if you can explain about the central part of the brain, but it may not be on the topic.
Into the brain, yeah.
How does the soul control the brain? Is that?
Yeah, that is good. It is just like control is one thing, but more he uses the brain. Just as you and me right now, we are using a computer, and you can use some functions and you can use some other functions. And if the computer has got some problem, some limitation, then it may limit your ability to do things fully. Even though you have potential, you cannot do fully until you find a way to bypass it. Same thing happens with the brain. Brain is, as with age and various reasons, brain may have some damage, some limitations, and that puts limitation on the driver.
Thank you. Just a little bit more on this. So if we're not serious, in this case, we're more in the right brain. And how is it can be not serious and serious at the same time? I mean, it's been answered, but did you want to add anything about this paradox?
Yes. And this is what you will experience in yourself. Say if you just remember anytime you have played a game, sport, with friends. And broadly, that whole thing can be cancelled and you're okay with it. If you lose or win, you feel there's no problem. You got your life. And so you start with that lightness, and then you go to play, and you are playing to win. You are serious. So these two things happening at the same time. It is not serious. At the same time, you are serious. That is the difference between game and work. Work, everything is serious. Whereas in a game, you are having this paradox. And that's why both wings get used. Now, what we are saying here, in our life, if we are to see, say someone somehow manages to succeed in this. He has a strong right brain, let us say. I'm using this language, right brain, but we are really talking about these functions. He has that philosophy, attitude, where he sees this life is a game, and he knows nothing is serious, and he knows the reality beyond this game. That's all. With Paras, what does Paras do? He knows the reality beyond this whole drama. And because of that, you will find he's in the world, but he will find he is the one who will have higher goals. He's the one who will use his past skills and work hard. He's in a game. The game is such a sport, such a activity. You may lose also, but you know how to lose. You know how to fall. You know how to start again. You come with enthusiasm. You don't feel destroyed just because you lost one. All people in history, if you see, Abraham Lincoln is one example, but many. They had failure, but they were not put off by the failure. They come back. They continue. Like Abraham Lincoln lost elections also in many respects, but still he's back. He's still in back, and ends up becoming the president of a country. So the one who is in this game spirit, he knows to play, he plays to win, and he also knows to fall and start again. So one who is not strong on the right side, he will say, I better not start this company because I will fail. I better not go for this election because I will fail. I better not introduce myself to that person because I will be rejected. one who is strong on that side, he is in a game. Just as we said, someone who is crossing that pavement, one person say, I better not cross because I will fail, I will fall. I better not cross. So he fails even before he started. So he says, I better not introduce myself because I'll get rejected. So he failed even before he started. One who is in the game, he is happy to introduce and he is happy to, get some experience. And if he loses, okay, he loses, he starts again. He's in the game. And in the game, he, takes it on the ride. Now, the real issue for us, how to bring that in, how to make this strong, how to make the right brain, right this attitude, how to imbibe that attitude. And as we have seen in the past, we need Paras perspective. Here it is the same image that you have seen in the past. We are showing the drama there in the green box, and the soul visiting this drama knows that this is extra. This is all. Moment you see the bigger map and you realize that this whole physical world is extra. It is not everything. When you are seeing in a Pattar way, you are saying that game is everything for you. When person knows that is his life and he goes and plays for 1 hour, that 1 hour is extra. It is not going to affect his life. His life is going on, and that 1 hour game he can lose, but his life goes on. He's still safe. That's why he can be balanced in that game. Paras does the same thing at another level, because now he has understood his immortality, his home, his true family. He knows his world. And then he comes in this world, physical world, and he is here knowing that this doesn't affect his immortality. Here many things are going on. There may be war and there may be death and many things are going on. Corona also going on here. But he knows that this doesn't affect his reality. His world is independent, safe. Then it becomes a game. And now he is free to play. And the natural, the right brain, left brain, harmony and paradox that will display automatically. What is important for us in this discussion to realize? True spirituality is not to run away from the physical. We are here emphasizing, no, this is we are using the language, story, drama, not so important. Your main world is beyond it. We are not a sannyasi tradition, which is a tradition where we renounce things. That is not our aim. But we want to know our home, but we want to come back here. We want to play. We want to play to win. We want to know how to fall also and start again. The true proof of the true spirituality is that you are playing the game also, and playing the game to win. One who is truly balanced, he will say, let us make this world into the best world. Let us make our city the best city. He will take on this possibilities, challenges. He's in a game. He knows he might lose also, that is also okay. He may fall, but he's in a game. It is possible for him to take on these ideas as opposed to one who is imbalanced. Say, no, 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 don't try this, don't do this. Let us just sit near the fire and stay warm. Whereas one who is balanced does something different. You might see in our Murlis, the paradox you will come across many times. Like, for example, knowledge of the cycle. On one hand, the knowledge of the cycle says it is fixed, it is predestined, it is repeating. At the same time, the message comes, you have to make effort. You have to, can't ignore, you can't be lazy. Every detail, be very strict with yourself. And at the same time, there is a knowledge, it is predestined. One information is for the left brain, one is information for the right brain. We need to understand what compartmentalize. This is knowledge for the left brain, this is knowledge for the right brain. And then you are there to play with both wings. It also gets emphasized, we need to have both of these things in equal measure at the same time. Like, for example, sometimes the language is used. You are extremely detached. The kind of detachment that is expected here is 100% detached from the story. You don't get caught in the Cinderella story. Even if you are acting, you should be 100% detached. If you decide for next 15 minutes, you are not going to think of anything there, you should be able to put a full stop. And nothing from that Cinderella world is yours. No one is yours. You should be able to put a full stop to everything. Extremely detached. At the same time, one who is awake is extremely loving. He is extremely introvert. At the same time, he is very much an extrovert in a nice way. You understand the word extrovert. He is not introvert, but balanced. It is possible for him to really go into the silence and experience. But he's playing the game. He's not saying, I don't want to talk to anybody. No, he is also balanced. So the different aspects, they are, they are of, paradox. We understand why they are there and in what way they help us create that balance. Happy to listen to any comments or questions, and then we will create groups whenever you choose, Sarah.
Sure, yes. I think we're ready whenever you would like for groups. I think the last 5 minutes has answered a lot of the questions that were coming up. And Tara just typed that it was an awakening moment, hearing that no challenge can change my reality. So it's very helpful. Snehal had a question, how to decide the threshold of every activity or threshold of seriousness? It may have been partially answered, but do you want to comment on that?
Sure. To start with, nothing is serious. Because behind this, everyone is immortal. Everything is safe, and the reality is good. Everyone is noble. So let that be in place. Nothing is serious. And now you are playing the game and try and attend in the given situation. Each situation is unique. In the given situation, when you are approaching it, more you are soul conscious, whatever you are doing is right. But all along, totally prepared. One who is soul conscious, totally prepared to step, put a full stop also. Just like a doctor, say, he is dealing with the emergency, he deals with it, he may have to do the operation also. But when it is finished, he knows when to put a full stop there. He did his job, now it is, and he has to attend to the next one. He goes to the next person. It is not you are getting caught in it and you are thinking of it, and then you are not useful to other person. It's the same here. You are dealing with a situation with efficiency, but you are also able to put a full stop. Soul conscious person is naturally balanced.
Yes, thank you. There are a couple more questions. Do you want to have them now or have a break?
Now?
Okay. Is there less chance of ego when the right side is well developed?
When soul consciousness is developed, yes, very definitely. If soul consciousness means you are seeing the bigger map, you are seeing the story as story, and you are seeing the absurdity of creating any kind of desire or attachment in a fixed story. That's why ego cannot easily grow.
Yeah, the comment also is if it was true that just developing right side would help, then artists wouldn't have ego. And so as you say, self-consciousness is the balance. A question from Vinud. Can you tell us what is the most difficult challenge humanity will face in order to progress the latent abilities? I'm not sure if that makes sense.
Yeah, sure. The real challenge is the glitter. What is happening is this glitter that is available in the present time, that is deceiving many in that left brain, immersion and right brain paralysis. So someone is required to understand the value of just stepping back and not be deceived by the story and some sparkle and the glitter.
So you said left brain immersion and right brain paralysis. So you're saying that we get drawn in and therefore lose our creativity?
Lose our balance.
Okay.
Lose the larger picture.
Yes. And is it possible to learn to play as an adult and develop the right side? You may have kind of gone beyond that, implying that it's not about play as such. Is that right?
Yeah, play is a nice word, a nice language, but it is telling us that the spirit of play, where this whole world, like what is shown here, you are first seeing your big picture. And in this big picture, the awake soul knows his world, his home, his family. We said right at the beginning today alaukic. That is what our world is. Everything about us is alaukic. So the one who is conscious, he understands his world is safe and good and eternal, and then this physical world is an extra gift. And this physical world is not going to change the sky. The sky remains safe. That's why the spirit of a game will emerge naturally. Only when something becomes extra or appears extra, it becomes game. Until then, what Jack Walsh and all tried, it is a patthar, it's in a stone intellect. What's the best we can do? Okay, play games for 1 hour, and that attitude, little bit might help his company do a bit better. And that we are not meaning it that way. We want to explore it properly. We have the potential to make this life naturally balanced.
It's interesting, the feeling I'm getting from the chat is that the feeling is the right brain is a bit more deity-like, this sort of artistic and lightness. So are deities in the golden age right-brained or both, or any comments on this?
Balanced. Balance is the word for us. We are underlining right brain here because especially the Western culture is imbalanced, over the top emphasis on the left. Our education system is also like that. But what we want to achieve is balance. Both ways need to be strong.
The quickest way to do that is for the soul to be conscious rather than working at any other level.
Yeah.
And just a sort of a question on this more technical side, is the soul, would it be fair to say the soul is the software and the brain is the hardware?
Yeah, sounds good. I'm not completely familiar with the details, but it may be a good analogy.
Maybe someone who's done computer software engineering can confirm that one.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it may be a good time for break if you would like to suggest a subject or focus.
How to create balance.
Balance. Okay, that's clear. It's an invitation to join the room, and we'll meet back. Welcome back, everyone. And really, really nice to hear the sharings. Well, lots happening. Let's create a moment of silence together when we'll hear from you. Thank you for sharing that silence. We'll just get the Finnish interpretation back. Hopefully Henna can confirm. Yes, I think it's working. I always love this quote. So they said, something's wrong with my brain. In the left brain, there's nothing right. And in the right brain, there's nothing left. It's kind of joke. I'm going to invite a couple of you to share. And first, we're going to go to Finland and say hello to Gite. I think you're able to come into sound.
Yes, Om Shanti. And thank you. And just want to share some of our room discussion. It was very lively and very happy. I think it was because of this, our subject, to use more the right brain, that fun and the creative side. And it was very nice how in our room the participants were sharing important things of that everything is temporary, why to take stress and why to be serious, and also understanding that we are the drivers and the body is just a car. So come with that lightness and happiness. And something to remind us, especially when we are studying meditation, that how much we should introduce creativity, lightness, music, because that will enhance our study process for better. So it is such a valuable lesson we heard about using the right brain and getting the balance. Om Shanti.
Thank you, Gite. That's interesting, isn't it? Keeping the meditation in that space. And Janet isn't able to hear. I don't know if Spanish translation, you can confirm in the chat if it's working. Meanwhile, we'll go to South Africa, and warm welcome to Belinda, who would like to share. Except you're not able to. Okay, now you have the powers to unmute yourself, I think.
Thank you, Sarah. Yes, we also had a very nice discussion, and one of the things that was noted is our attachment to winning. And as we saw with the example of the tennis player, that the moment winning becomes too important, then we can't use those skills on the left side. Such an important thing to remember. But I think the most important thing is to remember that it is just a play, because when we remember that, then it's easy to stay with that lightness. And in the lightness, winning is fine, but losing is also fine. And we know that in this game, the very nature of the game is that sometimes we win and sometimes we lose. That is the nature of the game. But something else that came to mind is about our fight and flight responses. What they say in the world is that fight and flight responses, which I would imagine come from the left side, are very important. But when we live permanently in that anxious insecurity, then it affects everything. So it affects our ability to then use the best of our skills, in particular when we are dealing with the ego, with Ravan, because we actually need to be very clear, and it's that clarity that enables us then to play to the best of our ability and to do well. But if we are constantly in that fight or flight mode, and the insecurity of that, then we, as was said, we are permanently handicapped. So important that the lightness is what is going to help us to actually come out of that anxious insecurity of the ego, and to keep reminding the self that it doesn't matter, and everything is easy. This is not a difficult game, and then we can accept the loss when it comes, but ready to go back into the game with full energy, and that way we are able to increase our chances of actually winning the game. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jigite and Belinda, for articulating the thoughts from the room and your own reflections. And yeah, isn't it amazing, this whole way our understanding and seeing the soul's reality is immortal. So that really, that lightness behind and before this game, and there is a game going on, but that balance to play the game with this backdrop of security is a fascinating subject, and very clear, very helpful, what's been articulated. So I'm going to, for this last part, welcome back to Prashant.
Hi. Hello and welcome back. And one nice riddle, someone has asked me this riddle. You are given a choice, and the choice is you have to cut a forest, cut the trees, and if you do a good job, you get a promotion. You get elected as a minister for forestry. So the person really is keen to get this job. So first day he goes with his axe and cuts the trees, and he gets 20 trees. He says, that's good, he's doing a good job. So next day he has a good breakfast and goes and cuts. Next day he gets 16 trees. He says, I am working hard and I'm getting less trees. So next day he plans what he's going to do, and he gets even less trees. Third day. So he comes to his boss and says, I'm very sincere. I really want this job. Why am I getting less results every day? So you may have a guess. What is he doing wrong? If you want, you can type your answers. What is he doing wrong? He's working really hard. He wants to be the minister before the forest fires come. He wants to cut these trees in Brazil. So his boss says, "Do you get time to sharpen the axe?" He says, "No, I don't want to waste time. I want to cut trees." He says, "Okay, great, just 5 minutes every day to sharpen the axe, and then you will get more results and less effort. Otherwise, with this blunt axe, you are working hard and getting less results." Now, this is the message for us, and which is the X for us. In the medical world, stethoscope, the important part of the stethoscope is in between the two earpieces. So also for us, the X is the head, our intellect. And if we are using Pathar intellect, then whole life we distort everything. What is meant to be a play, it becomes a war, literally, and we spoil everything. Just intellect is a bit blunt, and we are then working so hard and get less results. In fact, get better penalties. The game starts by getting the blunt, making that X sharper, and then the game is different. God is God because of the intellect. That's all. He's seeing things clearly, understanding clearly. That's all that makes God God. Otherwise, just a soul like anyone else. The huge difference in the human beings, degradation happens. Just the intellect is, no one is bad, but intellect is blunt. And our efforts and meditations, we got an aim behind this. We want to sharpen the axe, and we can go directly here. Once we understand what Paras means, God is called Parasnath, so you can't go wrong in that. And here also, you are understanding the huge, the attainments. You are literally discovering this dimension with the God, world of immortality, love, the family of loving, the angelic princess. That we are talking about eternal reality. And all that is required is the sharpness. We all have this potential. And that's why, that's why it is a possibility of the human beings. But we all have gone in other direction. We have been trying to get trees with a blunt, no time created. So even in a simple life, this man is told, just create 5 minutes to sharpen. We speak 1 minute. Again and again, come back to that 1 minute where you are going for the quality, going for the best, seeing the way God sees. So let us create some time now. Paras necessarily means you can see what is alaukic and what is eternal. This is all. You are seeing the bigger map. Not many complicated things. Don't feel shy to revise this 10 times for yourself, because it has to go in. Just simple things about the soul, it has to be repeated many times. We sometimes say alpha, beta, World Spiritual University. We just teach alpha, beta. Just essence, understanding the soul and God, the wonder of this dimension. And you are seeing everyone is from this world. All are alaukic. All are immortal. All are good, noble, good in an exceptional way. Because Ravan free, this region is Ravan free. They don't even have concept of need or desire or disappointment. That's why childlike. By that we mean they are harmless, they are innocent. All, always. This is the eternal reality. They are childlike, they are godlike. Even childlike, this is exceptional. They are absolutely harmless, truly non-violent. They don't know what sorrow is and giving sorrow is. That's why deities are deities, because at the original level they are like this. And so the awake soul knows that everyone is worthy of love and they belong to him. That's why this is like a celestial celebration, eternal celebration, celestial celebration, silent celebration with the father and the family. Everything auspicious, everyone worthy. And the awake self, true self, himself feels worthy to be loved by God. And now he knows in far away there is this physical reality, whether we call it story or a play or a holiday. It is all. It's a great PlayStation if you see it as a play. And he knows beforehand it is temporary. He doesn't want to get stuck in it forever. Temporary, that is just right. He has got his home. We also see it as a holiday. Variety experiences. Circus. It is also a great theater with a script and a variety of episodes in a golden age and iron age. He has no reason to complain about anything. It's a gift. One who is awake, he feels every moment is a gift. Every interaction is a gift. As it comes, there can be rain, sound, lorry honking the horn. The one who is conscious, during that time, he feels that is cheerful experience. Childlike reaction. He can say that because he knows the supreme truth. of the Atma and supreme company of the Father. Thank you. I'm happy if there are any comments or any questions.
While we're waiting for comments, really appreciate this not being shy to revise the basics. It's like this immersion. Yesterday there were some unanswered questions on the subject of the spiritual ego of the yogi, and I don't know if you wanted to comment on that now, or we can get up tomorrow.
No.
How ego adapts, how it can be deceptive, and anything you'd like to share on it.
Yeah, ego adapts. Sure, ego has that intelligence. Say if you are in a military, you are a cadet or you are in that campus. Everyone walking around, they got one stripe or two stripes, different stripes. You will be noticing who is a lieutenant and who is a commander and who is a senior person. You will be noticing this. And everyone is noticing it. Everyone looks at your stripe. And you define yourself by how many stripes you got. That's the way that becomes your image, your idea of who you are. It doesn't take long. Then you come out of that, you are in another place where no one is talking. They don't even know what that stripe means. But they all want to know how big your car is. So you will go to buy a bigger car because your identity is based on the car. What car you drive. Everyone else sees you by the car you drive. And so you will buy a car. It is ego doing it. And he may spend all his year's earnings just to get a car that he doesn't even need. But ego needs it. Then you go to another culture, which may be like a spiritual organization, some religious place. And there no one is talking about car. They are talking about your virtues and your punctuality and you chanting, how long you are chanting. So you will get into that. You will be spending time chanting. The ego can be doing this. It can be ego-based effort. That's why we said ego adapts. And ego adapts. You get this knowledge, ego will definitely adapt. And if it is not even seen, then there is no chance to remove it. If there is no awareness that ego is waiting here for the chance, then ego will definitely be there. And this is an important subject because ego rules the life. Ego is the Ravan progeny, is the cause of lots of sorrow. Not just lots, 100% of sorrows in the world is coming from one ego or other. It is ego that takes offense. Ego gives offense. And so these ego are created unnoticed. So it is good to be aware of it. Then we can, it doesn't mean it will disappear. Even if you notice it, doesn't mean it will disappear. It has to be replaced with soul awareness. Only when the soul consciousness becomes strong, dominant, then the ego will become smaller.
Yeah, as you say, otherwise it's just a battle with a new ego. One quick comment here from Nazanin, that in the Murli, Baba says it's a battlefield, and if you lose to Ravan, your status will be destroyed. So winning is not just a game. Did you have a comment on that?
It is good to have the spirit of a game. As we said, you perform better when you are having the attitude of a game. What is the other option we have? To become heavy about it, and then it is you are not enjoying the present. So we want to win. Game doesn't mean you are ignoring it. We said game means you want to win. You are there to win. You want to score maximum, but with the right attitude, with lightness.
Nice. So I know we've come to time. We will leave a link in the screen afterwards about recordings. But there was just one thing Pallavi wanted to just ask, because yesterday when we had Gentiben, she felt that Gentiben was addressing her personal question. Is there such a thing as telepathy in this?
Telepathy phenomena does exist. I don't know if it was happening in any particular event, but telepathy phenomena exists.
Even over Zoom, potentially.
Yes. I think Zoom might be using telepathy application.
Yeah, it's a new plugin, maybe. I don't know. So it's been a pleasure to connect on this subject, which is very light and empowering. And I don't know if you have any final comments, Prashant, before we close, or a suggestion for something we might like to focus on, or any final comment.
Yeah, as we mentioned today, until tomorrow at least, let us underline this word alokik. And everything of ours is alokik. Let us see this bigger, the reality. Everything is, our family is alokik. Soul, true family is, all are part of this family. Our home is alokik. We ourselves, the true self is alokik. And then we are seeing this great PlayStation here. Understand this, come back to this attitude with lightness, with fun. Today until we meet tomorrow. Very simple, not too much homework, very simple, just one word. It should be light, no?
Apparently in Finland, they don't have homework, so that's very good. But one word is nice, and it's to help bring more lightness. So thank everyone. Thanks so much for your participation and creating time and sharing this atmosphere. And we'll see you tomorrow, same time. Thank you.